Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week ahead. This week, we are in the middle of a pretty powerful astrological alignment. We're just after the new moon in Taurus and the perfection of a T square, which is happening between Pluto, Mars, and Jupiter. Now, both Mars and Jupiter are faster moving planets, and Pluto is retrograde. So they quickly moved out of the square and the opposition in the last few days. But the Jupiter square Mars here is going to hold its weight, I guess I would say, probably a lot longer than the Mars, Pluto, Jupiter. And a part of what this is in terms of strong energy, right? It's the dynamic energy of change. Pluto is initiating us into a new soul level identity. Mars and Jupiter are the faces of that identity through our drive, through what our desires are expressing in the world, and through the expansion of all that is Taurus, right? Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus now for the next year. And this is a pretty strong signature. In fact, I'll be doing an EA Zoom talk on Thursday this week, which is going to go into all things Jupiter. I'm going to cover the full year Jupiter transit that is free and available if you want to join me. You'll find the replay on my website after the meeting on Thursday and on the EA Zoom channel. You can join me live for that. On Facebook, they publish the live Zoom link. I am also going to be teaching an entire class on the source of resource. So not just Jupiter, although I will cover many of the archetypes of the Jupiter in Taurus transit and Jupiter as it relates to finance, money, and the expansion of abundance. But we'll be tuning into the astrological houses that relate to personal wealth, personal income, shared wealth, resources. And as a former financial planner, I'll be really sharing my perspective on how we look at finances, growing, whether it's growing money, personal wealth through investments, whether it's growing a business, starting a business, right? What we're planting right now, the seeds of what we're growing in our life right now, have to do with especially the next 20 years of our life, and especially the vision that we hold long term for where we find our physical, financial security, where our creativity and our self-expression, all these pieces are really up for initiation and for growth right now. And so we want to make good use of this time. We want to make good use of this energy, right? This energy can be used in so many different ways, right? This is like the power to fight. This is the power to make love. This is the power to, destroy one's life or identity and, take it all down, right? Release it all. And it's also the power to rebuild. It's the power to build something new that is beautiful, that is inspiring. It's the power to, the power that demands a lot from us, right? And that power is up to each and every one of us to choose how we want to do this, how we want to do life, how we want to do love, how we want to do relationships, where we want to find our financial security, what we want to do for our livelihood, for our, I called this in the month ahead transmission for May, power, purpose, and presence. And I think it really, the T square that we're experiencing right now, which actually is a grand cross if you include the South Node in, or not, it's a grand square. if you include the South Node in Scorpio, right? But all the energy has been pulling very strongly to the Taurus sector. We have Mercury, which is direct, still moving through its shadow period this week, and Venus in Cancer, of course, rules all of this. So if you haven't taken time since the new moon to set intentions, especially intentions as they relate to the feminine. So when I'm talking about the feminine, I'm talking about love, relationship, our money and our resources as it relates to the things that we desire to nourish, to care for, to grow in our lives. This is a really opportune time to set a desire, to plant a seed, to begin something new that is all about what would cause us to feel cherished and nourished. That's funny. Cherished and nourished, loved, protected, right? What would nourish our innermost being, our emotional body, our physical body, right? If there are changes that we need to make, now is the time to be instigating those changes. We can give our energy to the past, but it will only deplete our energy, right? Wherever that South Node in Scorpio is moving, that's about releasing, that's about letting go. And in a way, this T square of Jupiter and Mars and Pluto is about saying, yeah, we only use that South Node to purify, to let go of anything that's in the way of what we desire to create in our lives, what we desire to grow, right? All the blocks to love are what we're working on. If we're focusing our power on anything other than removing those blocks, dissolving them, feeling our feelings, if we're facing the shadow, but deflecting it based on needing other people to change, that would only get us locked in the power struggle. Over the weekend, I was at church, and it's been really a powerful thing to witness. My church, first the pastor resigned, and then the pastor reconsidered in the eclipse staying, but it brought up all the reasons why the pastor resigned. All this infighting in private in the church, right, was exposed during this eclipse, and all the hurt feelings came out on Sunday. And in particular, one sort of patriarchal person standing up, and really the whole church going and looking at him in particular and saying, like, no, this isn't why we're here. We are here for the purpose of healing. We are here for the purpose of letting go of the past. We are here for the purpose of resolving the conflicts, because no one has been able to sleep at night, because the unity and the love of the church has been compromised and undermined by this fighting. And if we've decided to stand behind our beloved pastor and to move forward as a congregation, we have to look at these things, and we have to learn how to love one another. We have to speak about what was hurt, not from the perspective of rehashing the past, but from the perspective of learning how to move forward together in love and in unity. And when this person spoke out, it was really triggering for a lot of people, right? This transit can be triggering, and how we face our triggers, how we face the emotional content, how we face the challenges that we can be locked in is what's important. And that unifying factor that I'm here to grow love. I'm here to move towards the future. What am I here to nourish, care for, and protect? What issues and dynamics and power struggles have to be resolved? And, there's different ways to resolve an argument, right? You can seek to be understood. You can seek to be right. You can let go and walk away from the fight. You can feel your anger, right? Feeling anger is such a powerful mechanism for healing, but we can also get stuck in anger. It can deplete our nervous system. It can wipe us out to where we don't have the strength or the capacity, or we're physically exhausted by the process. And so then you have to decide, well, what do I want to invest my energy in? Right. And Venus is here saying, invest your energy in beauty and love and taking care of your feelings. Mars's energy is saying, invest that mind fire in something that you can create that is new. Invest that fire in healing power dynamics by claiming through courage your own power, your power to create your life, your power to align yourself to divine will, right? We want, I was recently listening to an interview about astrology and Christianity, and, astrology can't be used from a predictive stance to define what is God's will. And that's where it can be used as a reflective tool, really to help us to heal, to understand, to make sense of our lives. It can be used as a predictive tool to look at how the energy and what the calling is, what's being called for us to heal, to review, to resolve, to evaluate in our lives. Where is the energy in terms of what we are working on and all of this? But the bottom line is it never changes God's will for us. And God's will for us is to know ourselves as love, unity, forgiveness. God's will for us is peace, right? And unconditional love. And that's where Saturn in this trine, the moon is trining Saturn right now, and Saturn in Pisces is moving over the long term towards Neptune. It's about walking a realized path of forgiveness and unconditional love through our daily commitments, through our daily prayer, our practice, and our life. And even the mundane life is one of the most powerful expressions of God's will for us, because we can wake up in the morning and think we know what our plan is, and then there's what unfolds. And a lot of what I've been thinking about in this time is also how that relates to Uranus, which is currently ruled by Venus in the sign of Taurus. It'll be a long time before Jupiter gets to Uranus, but in the relative near term, Mercury will be moving this week towards Uranus, and we have Venus moving to sextile Uranus, and then we have, Uranus really holding down the function of radical change, right? And that radical change is ruled by the feminine energy of Venus, right? It's saying how we do relationship, how we do work, how we do love, how we grow what we desire, how we do our embodiment on this earth, right? The physical earth plane, the mundane reality has to change. And Pluto says the transformation begins within our soul and our soul work. And Mars says, well, my desire is to create. What is Mars in Leo all about? Creating joy. If we have not been living in joy, now is the time to create joy. If things are being liberated from our life, if we are having to let go and do hardcore soul work, now is the time to create art from that madness, from that loss. Now is the time to create joy from our sorrows, right? Now is the time to be able to learn how to harness the heart, to heal the heart, right? This is why I began this course, Love Evolution, following Venus and Pluto in their journey over the next 6 months, because I recognize it's all about healing the heart of the feminine. It's all about healing and awakening the heart. And now the feminine is not strictly reserved to the female gender form, right? It is Venus and Mars. Everyone has Venus and Mars in their chart. The masculine, the feminine, whatever our gender expression or our sexual identity is, that has nothing to do with whether or not the feminine is present and the feminine is transforming. This has to do with the Venus function And while she's in the sign of Cancer, she's ruled by the moon. While Taurus is ruled by Venus. So while Jupiter is there, while Mercury is there, while Uranus is there, they are responding to Venus. So we have a really strong lunar theme this week. That's why I got these beautiful moon earrings, right? This is Venus, Cancer, Taurus, Leo, all in one. This just demonstrates. So they're really beautiful, right? And they're very colorful and creative and flamboyant. That's our Leo. That's our Taurus beauty. And then their Venus in Cancer, the little moon. So anyway, we can find different ways that this is calling us to express in our life, right? This could be singing songs. This could be painting. This could be creatively moving your will towards, what am I here to create? What am I here to do? What is my purpose? What do I feel passionate about? What brings me to life? And if a lot of our life and our life force energy has been locked up in things that don't bring that, a big part of this energy is unlocking ourselves, releasing the self and getting clear, right? Mercury getting clear about our communication and our resources and our, I'm doing this class called The Source of Resource. And there are details in the link below for registering. No one turned away for lack of funds. So if you have, want to grow in your resources, I want to support you in that. If you can choose, there are different pricing tiers based on where you're at in your life. And it's really about, what are we here to grow on earth, right? And we grow things in the garden, we grow things in our womb, we grow things in our life, we grow things through our heart, we grow things through our commitment and our devotion and our discipline. And we grow things both through our 10th house career and through our second house resources, income, right? All of this, these are all places where we can learn to grow. We grow things through how we manage our time, through how we manage our resources, right? Stuff is going to be a big thing during this time. Too much stuff actually can stagnate our energy and make it challenging for us to grow, right? Too much food makes weight in the body if we're not burning that energy. These are all ways in which we're being invited to look at our resources, look at our lives, look at our desires, look at our feelings, right? If we have stuck energy because we have feelings and emotions that haven't moved, we are invited to move them. We are invited to feel those things. If we have too many thoughts, Mercury and with the sun in Gemini, if there's too much to say and not enough time to express it, we can get lost in kind of like, where do I begin with what I need to do? And maybe making a list or really identifying what is most important to me to do right now. What can I do in the present moment that is going to help me to build what I'm here to build, to focus on what I need to do, right? This is definitely a need to focus our energy because there can be so much to do, so much joy, so much stuff, so much things to think about, so many children to take care of, so much chores to, so much pain from the past to realize, like to release. And when we're talking about the past, as long as the South Node is in Scorpio, right, these are deep hurts, deep feelings, deep traumas that really need our slow, loving care and attention. These are the wounds of the mother, of the feminine, that need our presence and our support to be felt. They can't really, if we were really deeply hurt, by someone in our lifetime, you can't rush that healing. If our soul experienced crisis after crisis or loss after loss for a long time, especially over the past couple of years, it's been really hard on a lot of people. A lot of people have had a lot of loss, right? You cannot rush the grieving process, but you can create sanctuary, time and space, devotional time to be with God, to be with your prayers, to be with your feelings. You can create therapeutic environments to do your work, right? You can make medicine out of the events of the last several years by coming to realize the gifts, to coming to recognize the beauty of your life. We can appreciate what we have, and we can simultaneously let go of those things that are not for us anymore, not reflective of the life that we desire, and focus on Virgo, right? By the time we get to the end of this week, it's the Virgo moon, and the Virgo moon is all about discernment, right? It can be meticulous and careful and analytical, but what is the purpose of that analysis? To purify our hearts, and as Virgo moon opposite Saturn, right? To purify our lives, our time, to purify our, we are constantly reminding ourselves of stories of things that will help us to understand the value of things. 3 times this week, I had the story from Matthew 25 come up. And it's that chapter, or that particular scripture, it speaks to 2 different parables that Jesus was telling. The first is the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. 5 of them went and they replenished their oil. They had oil for their lamps, and they were waiting for the bridegroom to come, right? So they're waiting for this expected, blessing, right? With the that they would be chosen, right? And half of them are ready and have extra oil, and the other half of them do not. And what ends up happening is that a long time goes on before it materializes, before the bridegroom comes, and they fall asleep. And the half that were readied and with extra supply were available to go out in the nighttime when he finally arrived, when the thing, right? What we're waiting for, what we desire, often doesn't come right away. It can take a long time for things to manifest, right? If you're wondering where your partner is, where your beloved is, if you're trying to grow your business to a place where you can really count on those resources, if you are wanting to leave a job and you need to have the savings in order to do that, right? These are reflections of where we, by having the reserves and being readying ourselves and having the resources or doing the work, we give ourselves the opportunity to be ready when the opportunity arises. And those who do not do the work right now and are not ready, it's like, if you aren't working on your heart, you will meet someone who might be the perfect partner and still see them through the lens of the past, or still not be available emotionally for a relationship, or still not feel safe even in their arms, and thus sabotage, the opportunity, right? If you want to leave a job that you absolutely hate, but you're still spending your money on, $7 lattes every day, you won't have the resources to ever feel safe enough to leave the job and have some stability for doing the thing that you want to do that is next, or if you're not taking the time to study and grow in something that can bring you resources, right? If you're not planting seeds right now, in the spring and the summertime, you won't have a fall garden. There won't be winter harvest. There won't be food to eat in the winter if we're not doing the things now. This is where Virgo knows the discernment. It's like if you want to lose weight and be healthier in your body and feel better, the Virgo is very discerning about what am I eating? What do I need to cut out? If you're needing to clean and clarify your environment or organize your finances so that you're able to really track your money and get into a good habit of saving, right? Otherwise, what comes, it goes. What comes, it goes. Otherwise, we're eating, junk and staying in the same habits, or we're not ready for a relationship and isolating or feeling alone. This is the time to begin those intentions, those desires, because especially these next 6 months are probably some of the most intense times of the year. It gets more and more progressively as we get towards the summer. But if we are wanting something to manifest in our lives, or something to change that has been really challenging, right? I see a lot of people who are facing like deep soul work and karmic dynamics. There's a lot of power in this astrology to really help with that, to really move ourselves forward. And it's preparation for the summertime, which seems to me to be one of the most, it's sort of like once in a lifetime transits coming up this summer. So anyway, end of this week on Friday, I'll be doing the month ahead, which is my look at the coming month. For all of my students who are at the Evolution student membership, it's just $11 a month, and it includes access to my month ahead transmission, a live student Q&A where you can ask any kind of question you have about astrology or about the transmission, about the month ahead, and a monthly new moon ceremony where we come together and pray. All of my students get discounts on any of my classes. So you also get 11% off discount on the Source of Resource class, which is coming up on May 30th. That's on, on the calendar. Everything you can find on my website, astrologywithmichelle.com. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up, and let me know, if something touched your heart, or if you're working on something in your life that you just want to be witnessed in. If you have a dream, a goal, I am so deeply touched by your comments. They mean so much to me. And I hope that you'll join me in whatever way you're called to. And until then, bye for now, my friends.